Okay everyone, welcome back to this teaching 4-cylinder inline double overhead cam build series. It is it's a model engine that replicates the movement of a real 4-cylinder double overhead cam motor, and it's got like electronics in there and all that kind of stuff. And in this step we're up to step 3.1 to be exact, and we're mounting the electronic board into the bottom of the oil sump, which is underneath the motor. You have the little brain box there which tells it what to do, and you have two switches here. You got like a charging port right there and an on and off switch. Really easy. So you need to attach it, two screws at the bottom here, and you need to feed these two switches through these ports that are already on the side, and that is it. Pretty simple stuff. This one screws in, this one kind of press fits. Easy done. Okay, so here is how you install all the electronics. So there's the board there, two screws put in there. You have a little LiPo battery that kind of just sits down in between all these wires, kind of just like that. Little cover goes on top later on. There's you can put in, I'm pretty sure you can run it on a PowerPoint just like that. You just put it in there when it's on your desk, and you can on and off switch there. And when you want to take it out or show people when you don't have any power, you can put it in this little LiPo battery. And I'm pretty sure when you need to charge it, you take it out, because that is not a charger I can't read it anywhere. So I'm pretty sure it is two little screws, take off this little lid, take off the LiPo, charge it and put it back in. But at least you give you two options when you want to run it. So that's it. Next step, really simple. This one here goes for later for the starter motor. It kind of runs through that little channel, and all we need to do, make sure these wires are sitting down flush, put this little lid on and secure that down with 4 screws. I'll get these all sitting flat and work our way from there. Now that step was pretty easy. There's that nice cover on, just secure with 4 screws. Now next up we've got to do the legs here, and these are the little aluminium legs that sit on the bottom so you can display it and it sits off the ground. They are all the same from looking at them, and all they do is kind of sit in there, and we have these nice sturdy screws. They're quite thick, and yeah, just make sure in the bag that you look for the right ones, because there are heaps of them, that's for sure. And let me just screw one of these in, and there we go. Nice and secure. So that's how the legs look. Nothing too exciting. I'll put the other 3 on and see how it looks. Okay, there we go. All the legs are on, and that is very secure. And a good part now, we're going to actually put the block and mate it up to the bottom of the engine, the oil sump and all that kind of stuff. Just make sure it is in the right direction, which it is. Requires 5 screws on either side, so 10 all up. So 8 of the screws are really easy to put in with no issues, but these two guys here are a little bit of a pain. You can see I can't get my driver in there. I don't have one of those ball bits, and the ones that come with the kit are the same situation. You just can't get enough. It might take a long time, but I'll figure this out, and I'll see how we go. Not so tough now. Good old needle nose pliers and a lot of swearing. Got them down to where they seem reasonably tight. So there we go, it's sitting on the stand. Really nice. It's getting quite large now actually. And next up we have to start putting on the rear end cap. Apparently that's going to go on this side of the motor. So it's a small piece. It's a rear end cap that kind of keeps all these nice and steady. And that rear end cap is just this piece right here. So all that does, goes along here, kind of ties it all together. It's got 5 screws to hold it in place, and there is another one as well for the front. It's exactly the same thing, and yeah, nothing to it. So let me get the instructions for that guy. Just like that, nothing to it. So I'll do those two. It's really easy and pretty boring. Okay, there we go. The front and rear cap is on, and it's going to be pretty exciting now because we're going to actually put the cylinder block on the rest of the engine, and it's starting to look like something. And what's really cool about it, it's got these little locating pins. Tiny as, are like 5mm in length, and they go up here to locate so nothing gets skew-if. So that's pretty cool. There we go. Cooking with gas now, and all we need to do, make sure it's in the right direction, which it is. Locate those bad boys and pop it on. Simple as that. And we need 1, 2, 3, 4 screws on top. Simple as that. Now our line is actually 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 screws up top. I was thinking 4's a bit lean. Okay, now the head is on and it's secured. We've got the big ass flywheel here, and we're going to secure that to the front, just like that. And we've got 2 screws, obviously. So many different sizes screws for this kit. Nearly done. Torque them up. Okay, and there we go. Now if we rotate it, there we go, it's easier to spin now. Okay, step 5, we've got to actually assemble the starter motor. So here is a motor. This will crank this display model over, and it's just mating these 2 cast pieces together to form the starter motor. And when you're putting these 2 halves together, it's actually the first time we use these screws that have the Loctite in here, which will make sense because this is a motor, it's constantly vibrating. So at least that has the Loctite on there, pretty sweet. It's also, you needed a separate set of screws, 3 here to attach the motor to this first housing, then you put it all together to form 1 unit. So just 2 screws there, pretty simple. Now once that is all together, we have the small little gear here, and it's got you can see it's keyed just in there, so it can only slip on one way and it won't spin. So just like that, and it has a bit of clearance. So that should not interfere, although it is very close to those screws, but they are tight as they go. So that's fine. And then we have this small piece up here that goes on top, just like that, as a spacer. And then we get the cover that sits on top as well, and kind of covers it all up, just like that. But let's line these holes up. Yeah, there we go. So that's how it looks. And these 2 screws as well are the ones with the Loctite on there, so that won't be rattling out anytime soon. So once we tighten these 2 guys up, yeah, that's it. So now it's pretty exciting because we can attach the starter motor to the side of the actual block, and once that's installed, we can make sure it all spins because we can just hook this guy up and test it out. Now this is attached to the side of the block with 4 screws, so I'll find out those, I'll attach them up, and we can give it its first test drive. Okay, there we go, it is installed, and as you can see, there is a simple gear mesh, really easy. Now let's just plug this guy up and give it its first test run. Okay, everything is plugged in, and you can see there's your little charging port, or you can also, I'm not too sure if it does charge, but you can plug in your power adapter so you can run it off the electricity on your house, or you can just flick this switch and use the LiPo. There we go. Sweet. So there is the speed it runs at. And don't forget, it's still haven't got the timing chain and everything hooked up to look at all the timing actually, and all the valves. So that's it. That's how it spins. So it's pretty quick. Oh, not pretty quick, but it's quick enough. And this side is the side that has everything visible. Not bad. It's pretty quiet too. You know, not going to leave it running all day, but it's just one of those things that you want to show people that it works. The next up is the assembly of the generator, and I thought there was another motor that moves, but this one is actually an electric motor, but there's not actually connected anywhere. So yeah, so it just has this nice cover like the starter motor, and all you do is you put it in one side, just like that, and it's like a press fit in here. There's no real way to secure at the front, it just fits in there with a nice friction fit, just like that, and the back just sits on really easy, nothing to it. So yeah, maybe it's just for looks, but I'm not too sure why they actually put a motor in there. Now all that's left to do once you put these 2 halves together is you put the actual pulley on there. There we go, it's keyed as well, and you top it off with this small nut, and that is it. That is another part done for this kit. So to screw that down, there we go. Very nice. That is ready to install on the actual motor. Now the generator just sits on the block here in this position. You can see it's got this bent bracket that fits on the engine block really nicely. So I'll put those on, and yeah, next step. And there we go there. Everything's spinning freely. I guess it's got that electric motor in there just so say it's putting a whole bearing system in there. It's got a motor, it's already got a bearing attached. Or you know what I mean. So a drive shaft, so everything is spinning freely. So that is done. The next part, step 7, is water pump assembly. Connect between water pump, impeller and pump shaft. So let's get all this stuff. Super easy, this one. Got the shaft, impeller, stick that in there. This guy sits in there, and then you have a other half of the casing that just sits over it, just like that. 5 screws hold that guy together, and let's have a look at the next step. Yep, there we go. And then we've got to actually get the pulley and top it off with the nut. Okay, there is a water pump all installed. Everything is nicely on. I put a washer in there, like a spring washer. Doesn't say it needs it, but there's 2 in the kit for these particular bolts, so I used it anyway. And that easily just sits on the side of the engine block, just here, with 4 screws, 4 bolts, whatever you want to call them. And I'll put that on now, and that is that stage all done. Okay, there it is, all installed, spinning nice and freely. No ball bearings, but it doesn't really need it. It's not spinning quick like the majority of this kit. Next up, we have to build the tension base assembly, it is called, and it requires, you've got the pulley here, and another block, and also another part which I will get right now. This guy, just like that, and it's in the instructions. This goes in here. Obviously you can adjust the tension, and this block goes in the back just here. Screw it all together. As you can see, it's got like a, if I can get that in there, it's kind of slotted, so you can kind of move it back and forth just like that. Feel easy, and it screws into the other side like that. Just get it started. Super easy, just like that. And then on this side, so you can see when you tighten it, you know, it does that, and you can adjust the tension. And all you need to do is you get the pulley and put it on that side, and it's saying it needs one of these screws with the Loctite on it. Get that started. Definitely pays to have a good set of Allen keys, not the like a set like this, not the ones that you get included in the kit. You get annoyed with those. Well, I do anyway. There we go. And sorry, I was wrong about adjusting it when you tighten it down. I'm pretty sure you got a little set screw here that you screw in or screw out to adjust the tension, just like that. That's what I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen. So there we go there. Spins nice and freely. And yep, definitely right. It's got a adjustment screw on the side here. So let me find that screw and I'll show you what I mean. There it is here, number 61. It's the biggest screw out of all the whole kit. There we go. Massive. So that guy just goes in the side here. And there we go, as you can see. Probably always got force going against this direction, so you can just screw it in like that, and that's it. I'll just tighten it up with my finger tight, just like that, and let's see what the next step is. The next step, attaching the actual tension base. Just here, it's got these 3 mounting holes to the engine block. They just go in there simply like that. Now it's got 3 fasteners here, and when you put them all in, these the one on the top and the one on the bottom is no problem, but the one here, it gets in the way of the middle screw. So I've taken this pulley off. I'm going to do these all up nice and tight, and then I'll put the pulley back on just to give me access, well, no issues to get to this middle one. That's it. Next up we have the mounting of the timing chain block. Well, I think it's a timing chain guide, and that guide just sits in here just like that. Nothing special. 2 fasteners for that one, and there's also, moving up to the mounting the crankshaft timing sprocket, just there on the motor. So we need to get these 2 parts and mount that up as well. There we have the timing chain guide on one side there, and the next step is installing the crankshaft timing sprocket, and it needs to be keyed here so this actual sprocket can grip, and it's got this little piece or part that you need to install, as you can see, it's got like a little indent in that main shaft there. So you're going to put this little guy in first, just like that, so I can form a key, and then we can slide this chain or timing chain sprocket over it really simply, just like that. Here we go. I've put the timing chain on in the other tensioner block here, and you can adjust it via this little screw here. You can move it in or out to give it some tension, and you don't want it to slop around a bit. But in the instructions, you've got these two little dots on the timing sprockets here, as you can see, but they don't line up with the real world model. Basically, you want to have there's these little dots on the outside on the actual camshaft. I want them facing out, and these kind of have to be in the same angle. As you can see, if I rotate it, they're kind of exactly each side. The only one you've got to watch out for at the bottom here, that little key, it tells you to be kind of vertical or horizontal, and that gives you the indications. That's correct in the manual. So once everything is set up, I can show you, we can get the correct timing. If I turn it on now, there we go there. Inlet, compression, and inlet, compression, spark, and exhaust. Inlet, bang, spark, compression, exhaust. So pretty cool. So they are all working like they should, and I'm thinking that is the correct timing, because you got inlet, spark, compression, comes back up, and exhaust on the other side there. So that's pretty cool. Actually, I'll rotate it. There we go, so we can see all of them. Let me zoom in as well for you. There we go there. Pretty cool, and they're all working as they should in the correct order. Show the camshafts, but zoom back out again for you. There we go. Pretty cool. So, next step, turn this guy off. That is all done. So that's pretty much the whole engine block and everything. Now we have to put on the crankshaft pulley. Very easy. It's keyed and it goes in this direction. So we put that on there. Just like that. And that is held off by another screw. So I'll find that guy, make sure these are on. The tolerances are pretty tight for this little key. So find out where that goes. There we go. So I'll put that guy on. Oh, still not in. There we go. Come on. There we go. Okay. So that's on there. I'll finish that off with number 62 screw. Okay, now we've got the crankshaft pulley on there. We have to mount the belt, and as you can see, it comes with two, and it's got two slots for both of them, so we'll put two on. Got the first one on there, really easy. Go down there. I'll put the big one on actually first. There we go. Just like that. There we go. The belt is on, and you've got the tensioner here, and as you can see, it's always got tension because it's got this rubber pushing down on it, and you can always just screw it in like that, and as you can see, I can rotate it all the way in, so that's all the way in, and if I turn it on now, all this should all move. There we go. Oh, you can't go too, if you go too far back, this might jump off, and you don't want that to happen. But there we go. Everything's moving as it should. Really cool. Nearly done. Step 10.3, mounting the oil filter. Really easy. Just threads in here. Nothing to it. Just like that. There we go. And now we have to assemble the intake and exhaust pipes. And they are these pieces right here. Just like that. They're going to go on the side. So we've got two of those obviously, and heaps of these smaller pipes, so I'll get all those ready. Okay, this step is really easy, nothing to it. We have our intake and exhaust pipes here, and apparently it's got to slide these into the back just like that. Make sure it's that correct direction so it's flush when these are all mounted in there. And all you got to do is you put obviously 8 on either side just like that. So repeat for the other one too. Now all you need to do once they're all installed is mount them to the side of the motor just like that. Requires 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws on either side, and that is pretty much it. Once these are on, nothing to it. Well, there we have it, guys. It's all done. So that was only, you know, a really quick build series video, but there we go. It is all completed, as you can see. Exhaust and intake pipes are all on. Looks really, really cool. Now I'll turn it on again just to show you guys. There's a external power supply you can put in there. It comes with this power adapter as well, so don't forget about that. But it's been running on that battery ever since I've bought it, and I haven't charged it yet. So here we go. Everything is working. Looking cool. These are all spinning. This tensioner works really, really well. I've let it off a bit so it's not as tight. There we go. And you can see a little water pump spinning in there if I can get it to focus. There we go. So everything's working like it should. It's a really nice display piece. I recommend it for anyone. So far there was no issues with this build. The fit and finish seem to be pretty good. You just can't torque down these like the cam shaft bearings too tight, otherwise they can get a little bit stiff, a little bit too much friction, but apart from that it was alright. One thing I did notice though, you get a lot of spare screws as well, so you think, oh wow, did I put it together correctly? Yes, you have, because there are a fair few screws and little knickknacks left, as you can see, but that's good. It's always nice to have some spares. So I went over everything and made sure I've used all the right amount of screws and everything like that, and I have. So it's always good to have spare screws, especially these. These are nice stainless steel Allen head ones, and those little pins are always handy for us RC guys. So there we go, you get a fair few spare screws and everything, which is really cool. Any questions, guys, leave them in the comments down below, and you know what, I'll try to answer everyone, which I always try to do. Also, when I go check it out, link is in the description down below. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I might see if I can get the other 2 engines as well. Let me know if you want to see that. There's like an aeroplane one, and there's a single overhead cam 1-cylinder motor as well, so that might be interesting to put together. Very similar instructions and stuff like that, just a different style of motor. So let me know if you guys want to see that. But thanks guys, Steve here again from RC Tanks and Trucks 24/7. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.